back to Aquí Soñamos. I'm Sammie, and this is.
The podcast name you just said, Aquí Soñamos. I'm Ashley. Oh, wait, was I supposed to say, and this is Ashley? Okay, see, we're switching up the intro today, and you didn't tell me about that.
We gotta keep people on their toes. We can't
Absolutely. I mean,
just,
you kept me on my toes because I was not ready for that.
You're welcome.
Podcast name, Aquí Soñamos. I'm Ashley,
I'm Sammie.
and you are our beautiful listeners.
Yes, I love that you guys are here joining us yet again. Hope
Thanks
you
for
guys
coming
like.
back.
Yeah, for real. Thanks for being consistent. We love consistency in 2024.
That's funny. A little bit of foreshadowing there. Well, I think we're prepped here. We have Sam with her espresso and her water.
Mm-hmm.
I have my water as well.
Love
So,
that for you.
Sam, anything new going on? How's your life been?
You know, life has been a little bit crazy. At the last episode that we recorded, just us two,
Hmm.
I was like, I'm ready for 2024. It's my year. We got this. And 2024, a lot of shit hit the fan.
I don't even know
Um,
what episode that was, to be
I
honest.
I don't
It's
know.
been a minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and so we've been like kind of lagging
Hmm.
on recording together, but we're
Hmm.
getting back into the swing of things, which I'm so thankful for. Thank you to Ashley and Gabby for being here and
Oh,
holding their end of the bargain. I appreciate it so much. There was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I couldn't deal. Um, so I had to take a little moment, but I'm back. I'm
yeah. I
good.
mean, we've
Um,
both had to reschedule a couple times, but hey,
yeah,
as crazy as it is, 2 months into 2024, it's going by very quick. But also,
very quick.
that's not a reason to not get into the things that we're trying to do in
Mm-hmm.
2024, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
that's good. My life has been good. See, I'm trying to think about what we talked about the last time we worked together. I'm just like, I don't know if I have any updates.
How's baby?
Baby
How's
is
wife?
good. Wife is good. We were able to take a little tiny weekend, a little getaway this past weekend,
Nice.
which was fun. The first time, like, kind of out of town
With
officially
the
with the
baby?
baby. Yeah, and then my cousin messages me. You're good. My cousin messages me while we were out of town, but we didn't actually get on the phone until we got back. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Hey, I'm getting married in 3 weeks. Can you come?" And this woman lives in Florida, right? And I was
What?
like, let me talk to my people. Let me see. And then
Oh,
I'll let you know. So yeah, I talked it over with Gabby, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. So we'll have that fun trip to plan. I love the beach and the water, so I'm excited to go to her wedding, but I'm excited to go to the beach too.
Ashley said, fuck the wedding.
Said I might show up late to the
Respectfully,
wedding.
fuck the wedding. Is the wedding
I
on the
might show up
beach?
late. No, it's she actually rented out a really really nice Airbnb.
Oh,
So
that's
like
cool.
where like some of the family members are gonna be staying there, and then it's like really nice Airbnb. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go. Like that's awesome. Yeah,
Cool.
so we'll be there. So excited to be there. That's in a couple weeks here. Um, but yeah, besides that, I did tell you about this earlier, but your girl reached 50 pounds lost. Woot, woot.
Yes, we love
And
that.
I got my first at work yesterday. I got my first, hey, I have a personal question. Have you lost some weight? And I was like, yes, thank you for noticing.
Thanks for noticing. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
so that's still definitely a journey, but it's moving forward. You know what I mean?
I
So
love that.
things have been going pretty good on this side, and I'm glad
That's
I'm
good.
glad you're getting back into your badass Sam flow. It's good to
Yes,
have you back.
it's good to be back.
All right, well, what are we talking about on this episode, Sam?
We're talking about the fear of starting new things, right? Starting dreams, starting new things. Kind of just want to touch base with that. I know that that's always something. Like, even as confident or like as secure that we are in ourselves, there's always some type of fear, right?
Hmm.
So we just kind of want to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, even I went over some, like, last night I was at work and I was like, oh, I have some free time. Let me talk to my coworker about these topics, right? And I got like some responses to some generic questions that I asked her. But even with things like us doing this podcast that we've been recording now throughout 3 months, right? Every time we're about to record, I'm like, I'm scared. Am I gonna cancel? I'm scared. Am I gonna cancel? Right? So it's the fear is, I feel like, a very natural thing, right? But
Yeah.
we're kind of wanting to talk about what causes the fear and how to push forward, even though there is fear, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So we can start at the very beginning of, there's a new idea, there's a new challenge, there's something new, right? And fear has come along with it, right? So I like how basically our episodes are just a Q&A where I be asking you questions.
I know.
I really put you on the
But then
spot,
it
but
turns but then it turns into like a conversation, I think, with
yeah.
like what I'm saying, and then it doesn't feel like you're just
Mhm.
asking me questions and
Mhm.
stuff. Anyways, continue.
So with something new, why is there fear? Besides the fact that it's new,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I
I know my answers, but that's where we're
Okay.
gonna jump off.
Okay. It's the fear of the unknown. I think not
Mhm.
knowing like how this is gonna turn out, not knowing, in order for us to make a decision, we have to know what the outcome is, right? Because everything in our life has always been, you make a decision, there's a reaction, right? For every action,
Mhm.
there's a reaction. That's
Cause and
something that we're
effect.
taught. Yeah. We're taught
Mhm.
that at a very young age. And so when we're starting something new, right? Something big, we know that there's going to be a reaction, but we don't know that reaction. And so that causes us a lot of uncertainty and like nervousness and anxiety, you know? Not to say that everybody is should be diagnosed with anxiety or anything, but like we
Mhm.
have that like, oh my God, like this is going to happen. And then we start to overthink, and then it just gets into like this cycle of like, I'm not good enough. The negative self-talk comes in, and it that fear just continues to grow and grow and grow.
Mhm.
Because in some way we feel like we're in danger. Do you know what I mean? And so like,
Mhm.
because we don't know what's going to happen, we feel like we're in danger because we're on this uneven ground. And so our body's natural reaction is to like not want to do it, not take the step, stay
Mhm.
where we know that we're safe, you know? Like in the
Mhm.
previous episodes that you and I have discussed, we've talked about that, right? About like how, our Latina moms, they want to keep us in this bubble. They want to keep us safe,
Mhm.
and we have to kind of push that. And I think that's the same thing with the fear of starting something new, right? It's us
Mhm.
us being uncertain of what's going to happen next. And so us, like, our body and our mind is trying to protect us from like the unknown, and so but we have to like keep going and push. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I feel like that
Yes.
was a lot of stuff.
No, 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 no. Yes. And so, you know how I hear something and my mind just takes it to somewhere else. I want to ask a
Yeah.
question about it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's the fear of the unknown, right? So then I'm wondering, what makes the fear of the unknown when it comes to a job, a dream, something new, different than the fear of the unknown in life, right? Because when you think about it, you can get out, go drive your car, you don't know if you're going to get into an accident today, right?
Right.
Like, there's so many things in life that are unknown. So why is this something centralized that causes us fear and we don't continue with it when we always continue with life. You know what I mean?
I think it's because we're making the decision to start this one thing. We're putting ourselves in that moment, knowing that, like, how do I say it? Let me give you an example. In my job, right after I completed my master's, there I had applied to several positions, right? And I was in between two, the job that I have now and another position. And so for me, it was okay, do I stay where I'm comfortable and where I'm at? Or do I push myself out of my comfort zone and then see what happens? Right? That was the main thing. I decided to stay safe where I was, but not just because I was safe, but because it made more sense for me, right?
Okay.
The job that I have now has a schedule that works aligns with my schooling, and my job is very supportive. And I felt like I wasn't going to get that at the other job, and the
Okay.
caseload was a lot heavier. For me, the fear of making that decision, it was heavy, right? Because I had this pressure of like, this is where I'm going to be at for the next 2.5, 3 years. So, and it's a lot of pressure, right? It's a lot of considering multiple things at once, right? In our daily life, we just look at what's happening within that day. But when we're making this
Right.
big decision, right, to that can ultimately change your life, we're not looking at just one day. We're looking at years, months. We're looking at days. We're looking at a longer period of time, and I think that puts a little bit more pressure on us. And when it comes to making that decision, that's why we feel the fear. Do you get what I mean?
Is that something that is required for us to do? And what I mean by that is the last part of what you're talking about is that when we're starting something new, we're looking at the years ahead that comes with the decision that we're about to make, which is what adds the fear. Are these things not things that we can break down to the months ahead, to the weeks ahead, to the days ahead in order to minimize that fear? Or
You
are there certain
can.
things that you have to like do, like you have to look at the years no matter what?
No, you definitely can. I'm gonna, like I say, almost every episode, everybody's different, right? For some people, they're like, okay, I'm gonna look at this just for the next 6 months. I'm gonna look at this just for the next 4 days, whatever. That's entirely up to them. And then the more that they break down the problem or the
Right.
decision, the hope
You're breaking
is
down the fear with it.
you're
Like
breaking down the fear with it.
you're
Yes, you're
cracking
minimizing
down, you're
that.
chipping away. Yeah.
Yes. For me, and what I had done is I looked at you look at different aspects of the job, right? Of why, for me, I looked at why this job versus the other would better suit me in my life, right? So I'm not
Okay.
breaking down the timeline. I'm more sense
Right.
breaking down the different aspects of the job, the requirements of the job, the requirements of
Right.
my life.
Right.
And that helps, that eases that fear, that eases that nervousness, right? Because you're not looking at the thing as a whole, you're looking at it as pieces. You know what I mean? Same thing with like the decision or the dream to have like a nonprofit, right? Yes, that's up here,
Right.
but there
Right.
are steps that I have to take in order to get there, right? And so what I do now is I'm scared to do this, right? Because I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm also not. I'm not looking at the fear of the end goal. I'm looking at the fear of the step that I'm doing now, right? You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
like, for me right now, it's okay, the doctorate, okay, getting my license, getting those hours, right? I'm like, okay, I need to do this before I can do that. And I need to worry about this before I can worry about the next step, you
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah. Have you ever gone through like the feeling of fearing that you are not worthy of the success that comes
Yes.
with what you're trying to achieve. Like
Yes.
where would, because I have as well, but like where do you feel like that roots from, or like where does that come from, feeling like, oh, I dream of this, but I don't know if I deserve to have this. You know what I mean?
I think what you're explaining is, again, imposter syndrome, right? If we
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah,
see people
yeah.
that look like us, if we don't see the representation, it tends to make us feel like we're not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's something that I struggle with all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try
Mm-hmm.
not to get emotional.
Hey, no, I cried that one episode, so
Um,
but like okay, so
so
your
like,
your big thing is imposter syndrome, like feeling like I don't
yeah,
see myself, so I don't belong here.
yes. And so
Mm-hmm.
having, because it's a thing that you fight constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in life, right? If you don't see somebody who looks like you, if you don't see somebody that you could relate to, you don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you should take up space. You don't feel like
Right.
you should
This is not a place for me. Like,
this is not a place
let me
for
stay
me.
in my lane because
Yeah.
this isn't for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and that's that imposter syndrome is fear, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the fear
Yeah,
of
it's like
making your
of
voice
your
heard.
yeah, your
Yes.
representation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And so like, not even just like taking it away from the professional world, right? Being
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
here in this moment with you
Mm-hmm.
guys. Going to the gym. You know
Mm-hmm.
how hard it is to
Mm-hmm.
be at the gym and
Mm-hmm.
like being a plus size girl. And that's not to
Mm-hmm.
say that I'm insecure about my weight. I'm insecure about like my body. No, I love my body. I'm proud
Mm-hmm.
of, what my body has been through um but like having the fear to take up space and being like, I'm gonna go over there on that weight machine, but knowing that like some
Right.
girl that's like this big is like also gonna use that weight machine, but yeah, I need to
Mm-hmm.
take up space. Like
Mm-hmm.
even in those small minute things, it's like, should I be here? Am I right to be here? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, yes I am. Like I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to live my life. I
Right.
wanna have a life that's worth living
Mm-hmm.
and that's healthy. So yes, I am
Mm-hmm.
allowed to take up space. And so like sometimes I'll be on the treadmill and I'll be like, okay, I'm only gonna do 20 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, I see somebody using the machine. Let me do another two. Let me do another
Mm-hmm.
three.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm scared to take up space. And
Right.
then I'm like, nah, forget it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So you feel like
yeah,
that's something that, yeah, I mean, no, it's absolutely true. I go through it as well, where I'm like, I'm here, the gym is big, I'm going to try to be as least noticeable as possible. Right? I'm going to
right.
choose the treadmill all the way at the end. I'm going to choose
Yes,
the bike all the way at the end. You know what I mean? So
yes,
you try to hide in this place
yeah,
where you feel like you don't belong, but like, so proud of us for still stepping into the gym, right? But
yes,
so you feel like that's a fear that you have to face every time you go to the gym, no
yeah.
matter how many times you've been,
No matter how
weeks,
many times.
months.
Yeah. Being vulnerable. Like, and like people are like, dude, but you go like 3 to 4 times a
Mhm.
week. You
Mhm.
have to be comfortable by now. And I'm like, I'm not though.
Right.
Like, you know, I
What's wrong? Is the gym a very vulnerable topic for you?
it's not that it's just it's not that it's a vulnerable topic. The gym isn't. It's the it's the admitting of the imposter syndrome, right? Because I
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
like I'm feeding into it when I admit it, right? But
Because
then like,
you're admitting it's real, like it's present. Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
But then I think about like, this is what's going through my mind. I'm sorry, we're gonna go off
Mhm.
topic, but like
Go ahead.
but like when I talk to my clients, I tell them
Uh-huh.
like, no, you gotta face it. You have to admit that it's there so like that we
Mhm.
can work against it, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to remember to remind myself that like, the same way that I push my clients to do so, I also need to do
Mhm.
so, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so like being here in this moment with you guys, and saying like this is something that happens to me on a daily,
Mhm. Mhm.
is kind of like crazy. But then like to also
Mhm.
admit it, I think is also new for me.
Well, this is a podcast where we discover things within ourselves, and it's really cool, right?
I guess.
Okay, so if we're going to call imposter syndrome a form of fear, right? Is there a way, a process, a journey to feeling comfortable within the
Yeah.
fear? And I don't want to say comfortable being feeling like you're an imposter, right? But comfortable to the point where like you know that you might be feeling this fear, but I'm comfortable feeling this fear, right? Because I
Yeah.
know it's for the better. I know I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So how do we get to that point, or like what has to happen to get to that point where yes, there's fear, but I'm comfortable with this level of fear and continuing on. You know what I mean?
Um, I think it's like what we talked about, right? Is having that drive to want to continue to do it, for one, right? And then two, having the support system to remind you that what you're doing is what you're doing, right? Is it's you're good to be there, right? You're meant to be there, whatever it
Right.
is.
Right.
And then also just believing in yourself and the decisions that you make, right? Believing that, you know, for instance, me at the gym, I I know that it makes me uneasy sometimes, right, to take up the space, and that I feel not fearful, but like I don't belong, right? Being able to say to myself, I'm doing this to be healthy. I'm doing this for a better me. And then going with my gym partner, my mom, and then her being comfortable, taking up space as well,
Yeah.
I think helps me and like reassures myself in the decisions that I make to go to the gym every day, you know?
Do you feel like if you didn't have a buddy in the gym, you would not go as often or not feel as comfortable?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
feel like she kind of takes away some of the pressure off of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like here, with somebody else, some of the eyes are not on me, basically.
No, 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 no. Not that. It's just that cuz like my mom's not going to like that I talk about her working out. But she's very focused,
Uh huh.
right? And she's just like, I'm here, I'm doing me, I'm working out. And then, so then
Other
by
people don't
her
exist.
doing, yeah, by her doing that, I'm like, I'm gonna do the same. She kind of models the behavior that I want to see, that I want
Okay.
in myself, right? And then so I'm like, okay, no, I got this. Like I'm working on this for right now, and then I'm gonna go do this. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's what helps me with her. And then also she keeps me consistent. I'm not gonna lie. She'll be like, gym,
Good.
and I'll be like, yeah,
I guess.
I guess,
Because
yeah.
you know you're gonna hear some shit if you say no.
Exactly. No, 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 no,
Mija,
no.
pero tienes que ir. Let's go.
Yeah, she'll be like, "Come on, let's go. We haven't gone. Let's
Yeah.
go." And I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the questions I feel like, not I feel like, that's one of the questions I asked my coworker, right? How do you overcome the fear, right? And her response was that you may not really ever overcome it. You
Yeah.
just decide
Yeah.
to go forward with what you want to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then something that she brought up is basically, I don't know if you've ever seen those videos where it's like losing weight is hard, but being obese is also hard. Choose your hard, right? Like choose which hard you want to go down the journey of. And she was like, you might reach the age where you have to face the fear of the unknown in pursuing something new, or the fear of I'm going to regret this in the future for not sticking to it, right? Because she was saying how you might reach an age where for certain things like you don't have that opportunity in your life anymore, right? um and so that brought up a very like something that I hadn't thought about, which is the fear of regret. Because Regret to
Yes.
me, right? Regret to me is something that I didn't realize you could fear in the moment of. Like it's something that happens in the future. So I didn't know you could think about like, oh, in the future, am I going to regret not making this decision right now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because when
Mhm.
you're trying to start something new, all you're kind of thinking about is like, oh, like I'm scared I might not succeed. I'm scared
Mhm.
people are gonna judge me. People are gonna make
Yeah.
fun of me. That it's not gonna
Mhm.
work out. Blah 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 blah. Right? But you never really think about 10 years down the line, am I going to regret the fact that I didn't start this today? Because if I
Yeah.
start this today, I could
Yeah.
fail in a year, adjust things, learn something new, try
Yep.
again, right? So
Yes.
come 10 years down the line, you have 10 years of experience now within
Mhm.
this new thing, right? So it's
Mhm.
no longer new and you've been able to adapt and change. And so I feel like that topic of regret is also something very powerful to think of because
Yeah.
regret, you can't change regret, right?
No.
Regret, it happened and it's done, right?
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
the fear of change.
Mhm.
It's like choose your fear. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the fear of change also is trying something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're trying out a new behavior, you're trying something different because what was
Mm-hmm.
happening or what you were doing beforehand wasn't working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's still the fear of something new, right? The fear of regret, I feel,
Mm-hmm.
is a big one. And it's not something that people think about a lot. I think if people thought
Right.
about it more, they would
Mm-hmm.
I I feel that they would take more chances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it was one of the things on your list to starting a new idea, okay,
Yes.
planning, goal setting, regrets. What will I regret if I don't go for
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring it up because I was talking to somebody and they had
Mm-hmm.
asked me, you know, like what what how do you measure or how will you measure your success in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to have regrets. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes a life successful, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like knowing that every decision that I made was the right decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
That puts a lot of pressure on you, right? And
I
it can
mean, I
build.
feel like
Mhm.
I feel like if we're talking about I'm in the future looking back and I want to make sure that every decision was the right decision to make, that puts pressure on you right now. But I
Mhm.
feel like in the future, because right now you don't know if every decision is going to be the right decision, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in the future looking back, any decision you made, I feel will end up being the right decision. Not maybe because what you decided ended up working out
Mhm.
or was positive to your life, but
Mhm.
because you actually made the decision to do it,
You're right.
right?
And
So
yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so yeah, I was just saying like due to the fact that you decided to go for something, right?
Yeah.
You decided yes on something or no on something that was gonna be bad. It
Mhm.
ended up being a good decision, which because at first I was like, well, I mean, you don't know if every decision is gonna be the best one, but the fact that you have made a decision and are sticking to it
Yes.
means that it was
A
a
good
good
decision.
decision. Go ahead,
Yeah.
yeah.
And but that's my thing like is
Mhm.
I know that I have made decisions in my life that weren't the best decisions or some
Mhm.
people felt that they weren't the best decisions, but they were the best decisions for me, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And I just like I'm proud of what I've done. You know, I'm
Mhm.
proud of the decisions that I've made to get to where I
Mhm.
am.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that I continue to do that. And the only way that I can continue to do that is to make sure that I keep making those decisions, right?
Mhm.
And some of
Mhm.
those decisions come with fear, they come with anxiety, they come with uncertainty, they come with this
Mhm.
imposter syndrome, you know? But I want to continue to make that time, continue to make those decisions for myself because at the end of the day, I will know that where I am in life is because of me, right?
Right.
Because of my
Right. 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 Right.
choices, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I also think that by deciding and like making that decision, it also kind of it gets you comfortable with the fear, right? The more
Mhm.
decisions that you make, And the more that you're getting comfortable with the unknown, the more
Mhm.
I feel that you get comfortable with the fear, right? You're
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm gonna feel a little uneasy in the
Mhm.
beginning, but then
Mhm.
eventually that fear will kind of reduce, right? And you get comfortable with the fear, like your coworker, I think, had mentioned. You kind of
You
just
know, yeah. I'm
live
I'm
with
thinking
it.
about I'm thinking about what you're saying, and because I wasn't sure if the fear would ever go away when you're doing something new, right? But with what you're saying, it's like, yes, the more you do, the more you make a decision that the outcome is unknown, the more you get comfortable with just the unknown, right?
Yes.
So since the
Yes.
unknown equals fear, the more you're
Yes.
getting comfortable with the fear, and then also
Yes.
you can get to the point where like I'm not scared of the unknown, so there is no fear of the unknown, right? You
Right.
kind of put yourself in that flexible situation where
Yes.
no matter what
Adaptable.
happens, right,
Yep.
adaptable, no matter what happens,
Yep.
you know that you're either going to work with it, it's going to go forward, or we're going to
Yes.
stop, adjust, adapt,
Yes. Yes.
and move forward in a different direction, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So like this being comfortable with the unknown seems to be the ultimate goal of overcoming the
The
fear of new
fear.
things, right?
Yes. And having that
Look at
flexibility,
us.
having that
Mhm.
adaptability
Mhm.
is key.
Mhm.
And it's something that people take a lifetime to understand. It's something that people take a
Mhm.
lifetime to gain, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Because I mean, you could be completely comfortable in the unknown of business, right? But when it comes
yeah.
to pursuing a relationship, I like, yeah, no, 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 right?
Yeah.
Like, I need to know exactly who this person is, where our future
Mm-hmm.
is going, how many kids they
Yeah.
want,
Yes.
like everything, right? So
Yeah.
it's also like, yeah, divided into different categories. You could be the most
Mm-hmm.
badass person in business, but
In your relationships, you're not.
some, yeah, yeah,
And you need
completely
to
scared.
go. Go work on
Yeah.
yourself, boo. Um, yeah. No, I know.
So,
And like just real quick, like
mm-hmm,
the whole like with school, right?
mm-hmm,
In my bachelor's and in my master's program, it was do the assignments, get an A, right? And
right.
with my doctorate, it's so different. It's so vague. And I'm like,
Really?
I can't just be studious. Like, I have to actually, like, it's so crazy. And, like, yes, I was a successful student and I was confident in
Mm-hmm,
that, right? But then when it
mm-hmm,
comes to this doctoral journey, there's like this heavy imposter syndrome, right? Because there is that lack of representation, but there's also this like unknown entity, right? That I have to write a freaking dissertation at the end of this,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know what's gonna happen, and I don't know if my topic is even worth studying, and like,
Right,
what do we do? Like, am I gonna
right.
have to reset? Am I gonna have to think about something else?
Yeah, you're not just able to just chase an A. Like, you have to
Yes, I
find a
have.
different goal to this
Yes,
new program. Yeah,
yes,
that's
it's
tough.
crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, leading up to your bachelor's, your master's, like you said, your goal has always been pass this class, get the degree, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
now you're in the next step,
yeah,
which makes sense for it to be the same process. But
right.
now it's like, hold
It's
up,
not.
we're about to change things up on you.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? I don't
Yeah.
know what to do. But then,
Mm-hmm.
you rely on your professors and stuff, and
Right.
most of them are helpful.
Mm-hmm. Your system. Yeah. I mean, support system, but also the people in place to help you succeed in
Yes.
general.
Yeah.
That's also just a literal life representation of how you
Hmm.
start getting comfortable with a certain fear, right?
Yeah.
And then which when you reach a certain level, it's like new fear unlocked because there's a new
Yes.
challenge. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
fun. Okay,
Um,
so yes,
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna go into something a little bit different. So go
Okay.
ahead and
No, no,
continue.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
Do you have anything else to say about that?
No.
Okay. So something that I talked about with my coworker, which we
Hmm.
haven't really gotten into, I'm going to try to explain it the best way to see if you come up with the same answer she gave me, okay?
Okay.
Is if fear is not a physical thing, right?
Mhm.
It's not a physical roadblock. It's not a physical like something in your way, right? It's not physical. It's a feeling.
Mhm.
Why is it so powerful and why do we give it so much power? Like why do we choose to lay into fear whenever fear is something that we control, that is inside of us, that I can be scared of, like I could be scared of getting into a car accident, right? But just
Mhm.
naturally, my body is going to get in the car, turn the car on, let's go, right? So, like, we have proven that fear can be kind of put to the side.
You
But
could rationalize it.
yeah, but so, like, then why is it such a big thing? Why is fear such a big thing if it's such a actual small thing?
But
If
it's not
that
a
makes
small thing.
sense. But we're the ones choosing to make it a big thing. You choose to lay into your fear or
I
not. You choose to believe in your fear or not, right?
no.
Like, this isn't me trying to be rude, but you choose to to believe that you are experiencing imposter syndrome, right? You are choosing to think that, like, okay, maybe I don't, you have those thoughts, right? I don't belong in
Yeah.
the gym, I'm taking up space, right? And you are choosing, you're not choosing to think those, but you are choosing to understand them and to believe them, right? And push
Mhm.
forward through them.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're choosing to
But
feed this fear.
okay. You have some people who say fuck fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who are just like I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to fucking do it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
those people. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have people who are like I know there's fear, but I'm still going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people who are like there's fear, danger. No. Absolutely not. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have we're going to break it down into three different levels. Okay. But there's more levels I feel
Uh-huh.
cuz different things could bring different fear for different. Anyways, one, I'm talking about the guys or the not guys, but like the people who just like dive into things, right?
Mm-hmm. The
Although some
fuckets.
of them can be successful, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times their inability to deal with the fear is their lack of emotional intelligence, I feel, in
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not because I think I feel that, again, this is different for everybody. This is my
Right.
personal opinion. This is not
Mm-hmm.
licensed therapist advice. We need to put that
This is
disclaimer.
take it with a grain
Okay.
of salt. Like,
Take it with a
yeah.
grain of salt.
Yeah.
I think that if you're able to identify the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Identify what's causing that fear. You're not just looking at the fear, you're looking at the consequences of the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by doing so, you're preparing yourself for that, right? You're preparing yourself to be adjustable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas somebody who is completely ignorant of the
Mm-hmm.
fear,
Mm-hmm.
they get into something and then it changes and then they're
Mm-hmm.
like, what the heck do I do?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? What what's my next step? What do I do
So it's
next?
not that they're scared of the fear; they're not
They're not
unplanned. Like it,
recognizing it, right? They're not, and so
yeah.
they're not able to be like, okay, well this happened, so let me take a moment and then let me reassess, right? Readjust
Mm-hmm.
myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then but then like the people who are like, okay, I know that there's fear here. I'm still going to walk through this
Mm-hmm.
and get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
When something is thrown at them, they're like, "Oh, that was scary."
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I'm still going, right?
Right.
Okay, I moved a little to the left, but I'm still
Right.
going to keep going. You know what I
Right.
mean? Does that make sense?
Okay. I'm picturing between the fuck it's and the people who acknowledge the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm picturing we're like in a war zone, okay? And
Okay.
the people who say fuck it are the ones just
They're
completely
just
running
fucking
straight, straight,
running,
straight, 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 right, 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 right.
running
Bullets
across
coming
the
out them,
field.
right? And
Exactly.
then the
Exactly.
person who acknowledged it is like, okay, we're gonna run here, take cover, make sure it's
Yes.
clear, run here,
Yes.
take cover, okay. See,
Yes.
that's what I'm picturing. And then you have the people who are just like, there's
I'm
fire,
staying.
I'm
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 staying
staying in the
here.
bunkers.
Yes, and I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to move
Mhm.
forward.
Mhm.
I'm not going to become adaptable. I'm just going to
Mhm.
stay where I'm comfortable. I'm going to
Right.
stay where I know that it's safe, right?
Mhm.
Even when we're talking about the bubbles, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
get, our family bubbles and our moms.
Mhm.
We're in the bubble, right? The people who say,
Mhm.
fuck fear, they just pop the
Mhm.
bubble and then they're
Mhm.
not thinking about how
Wow.
yeah,
It's falling
and
down.
they're not thinking, and not only like sometimes
Mhm.
it's not that decision doesn't just affect them, but it affects the
Mhm.
family, right? It
Mhm.
affects everybody. And then the
Mhm.
people who are like, I'm gonna push the bubble a little bit, right?
Mhm.
They're the ones that are
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm fearful, but
Right.
I'm going to make this decision and I'm going to take my time with it and I'm gonna be
Right.
okay with the fear, right?
Right.
And then you have the people that stay in the bubble and they stay there and they never
Mhm.
grow and nothing
Mhm.
ever changes,
Mhm.
right? And then they're
Mhm.
wondering like, how come I have the same life of my parents? How come I struggle with the same things? Homie, you didn't
Mhm.
try to
You're in
pop
the
the
same
bubble.
bubble. Yeah.
You're in the same you have that
Yeah.
same mentality. You
Mhm.
know? You
Mhm.
know?
It's kind of crazy, which this isn't really like, I don't want to say it doesn't matter a lot, but it's kind of crazy to think about how that can go through life for generations, right? Like if you were somebody that didn't want to pop the bubble, right? You're living the same life as your parents, then you have kids, they're living the same life. So at no point within your lineage, right?
Mhm.
Nobody ever popped the bubble. So you have this
No.
whole lineage of people
Yeah.
just living the same life
Yep.
when a century ago all it would have taken was somebody to pop the bubble, right? Which
Mhm.
a lot of Hispanics immigrants, right? You took the risk,
Yes.
you popped the bubble, you went to a different country. That's a major risk. Now, your whole future of your generations to come is going to be completely different because you popped that bubble, right?
Yes.
Which is very funny.
But
Go ahead.
okay, touching base on the thing of the immigrants, right?
Hmm.
Yes, the parents pop the bubble,
I think
right?
you're going to say what I was going to lead to. Hmm.
And but then they put the pressure on the kids to
Hmm.
move that bubble further, right? To pop the next bubble. Do you
Hmm.
get what I'm saying? So
It's
like
the
looking at
opposite of what I was thinking.
really
Like you
no
said,
because
you said your grandmother, right? Popped
yes,
the bubble and came, right? But then
yes.
your mother, hola mami, your mother to you is wanting you to stay protected in a bubble.
So here's okay. Here's I think with my mom's family, it's
Mm-hmm.
my parents' family is very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
On both
Like you mean
sides.
mom and dad? Okay, they're very
Mom and
different.
dad,
Mom and
yeah.
okay.
Because yes, their parents both immigrated here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they were born here, so they
Mm-hmm.
automatically had better opportunities than their
Mm-hmm.
parents did.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, my my mom wanted me to stay in the bubble, but
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to push me past her bubble, but she wanted
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that I was still safe,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is like typically in other immigrant families, we
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of pressure in the firstborn, right? Ella va a ser la doctora, ella va a ser la profesora, ella va a ser she's gonna be a cop, she's gonna be this, right? Or he.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
not to be like she. Guys can be
Mm-hmm.
successful too. We love a successful king. We love a successful they, them. Everybody's included.
Uh-huh.
But they have that pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
In in being successful, in pushing that bubble forward. And I think that yes, because the parents usually put a lot of pressure on them to continue to move the family forward, right? And a lot of moms are like, oh, pues ella me va a cuidar, o él me va a cuidar cuando yo ya estoy vieja, you know? And I'm like, yes. Like, even you
But
feel
not
that
in the way you
too.
think. But not in the way they might be thinking.
What do you mean?
Okay, to me, my parents saying, first of all, my parents that I remember will not say it is my responsibility to take
Right,
care of them when they're older,
right.
right? But yes, I want to take care of them in the sense of like I want to be able to make your life easier, to provide for you, to make it to where you can kick back, relax, right?
Take care of your grandbabies.
But I feel like some parents, right, generations before us, might expect, I have no idea why we started talking about this subject, but might expect their kids to pause their life in order
Yes,
for you to take care of me. And
yes,
that is something my parents are completely against.
exactly.
So, what were we talking about?
We
Because,
were talking
right?
about how
So
families, like first generation, the fear.
I have a question about that.
Okay.
Because you said a little bit ago that the first generation, the firstborn, is typically the one that has the most pressure. Okay.
They
So
feel the
are
most
you
pressure.
so you're saying that you feel like your parents feel more pressure than you do?
No,
Or they felt more pressure than you will feel to move you guys forward? Because they were the firstborn.
no. They felt pressure to move their parents forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
you feel pressure to move your parents forward?
No,
No. Why
no.
not?
Because that's something that I want to do for me and for them. It's not, they don't put the pressure on me to do that. I put that pressure on myself.
That's good.
You know? No, I'm saying
Yes.
that, like, and again, this is why I say, like, I think it's different for my parents' family. Because my dad's mom was like, vete a trabajar. Like, go to work. You don't want to go to school? Go to work. You know? She just kind of had that mentality. She still kind of has that mentality. And then, but like my mom's mom, también. You don't want to go to school? Go to work. That's
They
it.
were okay with that.
They were
Yeah.
completely okay with that. But then
Right.
my mom's mom, um, motivated or pushed my aunt, the oldest, to go to school, right? And so the oldest went to school. And then, I mean, she didn't finish, but she went to school. I think she's like two or three classes away from graduating with a degree. But she had babies, and then that kind of just took over her life. Um,
Your mom does have a degree, right?
my mom has a degree. Yes, she
What?
does.
Yeah,
She
she has
has
an
an
associate's,
AA.
right?
She
Right.
has an associate's degree in speech and
So
language
she also went to
pathology.
school, right? So she also went
Yes,
to school,
she went to
got her
school.
degree.
She got educated.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, and that was something that she did later on in life. She already had her
So
three
she didn't
beautiful
have the
children.
pressure, right? She didn't have
No,
the pressure from
no,
her mother to go to school. She chose to do
no.
that on her own, which is very good.
She made that choice to do that on her own, and she stuck through it. It took her, like, I want to say 10 years to do it, and she
But
did
even
it.
then, having your whole life basically already set out
Yes,
and then starting that, because that's something that's we didn't touch specifically on age, right?
we
The
did it.
age factor of fear.
Yeah,
But imagine yourself, this, not saying that this was your mom, right? But
right.
imagine yourself being a 40 something, 50 something year old going to get your associates, going to get your
Yeah,
bachelor's, right?
yeah,
So not only do you have the fear of how Jasmine was saying, do I know how to study? I'm going to
yeah.
stand out like a sore thumb, right? Now you have the fear of I'm the only oldest person in this room. I'm older than the professor. I'm too old for this, right?
Not
So it's a
only
whole new level
that,
of that
but
of
like
fear. Mhm.
also having, I mean, like Jasmine didn't have a family when
Mhm.
she went to school, but like my mom had three babies. I mean, we weren't
Mhm.
babies, but she had three kids, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
She had three kids, she
Responsibilities.
had a husband, she was working,
Mhm. Still has
and
the husband. Mhm.
still, yeah, he's still around. Just no disrespect to my pops. I love my dad. He's great. I don't talk about him a lot, but he's great. I talk a lot
Yeah,
about my
that's true.
mom. Anyways,
Yeah.
anyways,
That's interesting though, because not necessarily about your dad. Your dad is very present on this stuff, right? But I wonder
yes,
if that's rooted in something where your mom is a lot more present in your mind with the decisions that you make than your dad is.
I th-
Oh, what's up? Do you have like more fear of letting your mom down than your dad?
no, I have a fear of letting both of them down.
Mm-hmm. Is she crying?
She's trying not to.
Is she gonna
Um,
cry? What triggered? What did I say that triggered this?
it's my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She is. She's great. My mom is great. My
Mm-hmm.
mom
Mm-hmm.
is a very oh my god.
We know your mom's great. We know that. Like for sure.
she
Nobody's questioning that.
I can't even put it into words. The pride that I have in being her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um she she motivates me to like continue to do better. Um
Mm-hmm.
and like oh my god.
That's so beautiful though, like to have that
Like
emotion of
she's
like, I'm gonna make you proud, mom.
I
Like,
am.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Um she is a big driving force in my life, and like
Mm-hmm.
we we butt heads, you know. Our
Mm-hmm.
relationship is not it's not perfect, but it's also not
Mm-hmm.
horrible. She's somebody that I
Mm-hmm.
can talk to about anything and like
Mm-hmm.
be honest with her, and I know that she's gonna support me, and she's gonna be like, "Okay, Anne, like let's go."
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. Next thing. What's up?
Yeah, okay, like come on. And I love that about her, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like I said, I have pride in being her daughter and
Mm-hmm.
in pushing forward, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because she she went through a lot, you know, and I think that with her, she she didn't want the relationship that she had. You know, she wanted a better relationship with her kids.
Mm-hmm.
She always wanted her family to be together, right? And to have
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that open
Tight knit.
communication. Yes. And my dad did too. That's not to say that he didn't. He did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um but my mom was always present in our lives. I mean, my dad was working, so
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't
In a
always a
different way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was there for the big
Right.
moments, but my mom was there for everything, you
Every
know?
single
And so
day.
like just being taking the time to like sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Taking the time, you know, to say like what she has done, what she has accomplished in her life, raising the three
Mm-hmm.
kids, going to school, having a career change
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of her life, you know, and still sticking by it and still having the relationships that she has with her kids and her own siblings, like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much pride in that, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
and she
Mm-hmm.
shows me and she showed me, you know, that like we can do it, you know, and that like we
Mm-hmm.
should keep doing it, and that yes, it's going to take us a little bit longer, but lo vamos a completar, like we're gonna do it. And so I think like taking that moment to just feel those emotions and to
Mhm.
recognize like that I am proud of her, and not to say that she needs me to be proud of her, but like that I am proud of
Mhm.
her, and I do see what she has done to support me in my life.
Mhm.
It just over not overwhelms, but like overjoys me, I guess
Mhm.
overjoys
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And it makes me like a little bit emotional.
I feel like there's something that you should say to your mom because we know she listens to the episode, right?
She does.
I don't know if you say this a lot to her,
I do.
but
I tell her that I love her. And I tell her every day to have a good day. And that I am proud. I'm proud of her. I don't say it as often, but she knows that I am. And so
I say this to my parents at least once a year. But thank you.
yeah.
Just thank you for everything you've done for me.
Yeah.
Continue to do for me. My parents came through for me in a big way last year, right? So just like through all your struggles, and I don't even know half the struggles you've been through, right?
It's
You
not a lot.
continue to push me. You
Yeah.
continue to support me. You continue to want better for me. And for that, all we can really say is just thank you,
Yeah.
right? So vulnerable. And something I also want to say is you thought it wasn't gonna happen. It took a couple more episodes, but you cried, all right? And now I know your mom is your soft spot. Okay, so anytime you're making fun of me, I will talk about your mom.
That's not nice.
Not in a
But
bad way.
yeah, shout out to my mom.
Shut up.
Shout out to my mom. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
everything.
listening.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Trying to bring us back to the fear, right? The last question I asked you, which I was like, I want to see if you get to the same answer. My coworker was, which was like, why do we give fear so much power? Right? Her answer was more along the lines of giving fear all of this power is allowing us to have something to blame, an excuse,
To not be
right?
successful?
Right. It's an excuse that we can put
Huh.
weight on to lean on and make it that we're not the ones that choose to do something, right? So it's not that we didn't choose to do it, the fear chose it for us. The fear stopped us.
See,
So we use it as an excuse. Why didn't you do this? Well, I don't really feel like people say the fear as an excuse, but deep down, right? Oh, why didn't you choose to do this? It was just going to be really hard. It wasn't meant for me at that time. That was the fear of you believing that you could not adapt to this at that time, right? The fear of like, this is going to change things in my life and I'm not ready for change. I don't want change, right? So it could be like, oh, my life is just set up in a really good way right now. My ducks aren't in a row, right? That's is that not just a different way of saying the fear caused me to not do this?
personally, no
Go ahead.
disrespect to your coworker.
No, go ahead. But
I
fuck,
think
I'm
that
just kidding.
if I think that if you use the fear as an excuse, you're letting the fear win.
But that's what I'm saying. That some people allow the fear to win, but give the excuse in a different way. So they choose to let the fear win and use that as the reasoning to why this didn't work out instead of being true and saying like I was scared of doing this.
Yeah.
The fear is making me say I wasn't ready, I didn't have the time,
So what's your question?
it wasn't really a question, it was just the statement of we give fear so much power because we can use it as an excuse, and it's like a
But you're
valid.
not, but in that example, you're saying that people aren't admitting that they're fearful of whatever decision that they make. But then right now you're
I mean,
saying,
nobody's gonna say I didn't start a new business because I'm scared. To say wasn't like I was saying earlier, like I didn't do this because I was scared of it. They'll say like, "Oh, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have the time for it." like it just wasn't. It just wasn't the right time.
but, and
You
that's what
know.
I'm saying. Like, the people that label the fear, that can identify the
Mhm.
fear, are the people
Mhm.
that can adapt, right?
Mhm.
The people that sit there and say like, oh, por esta razón, because of this, o esto que el otro, y esto que el otro, y oh, no lo podía
Mhm.
hacer porque esto, y tengo un niño, y
Mhm.
tengo esto, y
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're not labeling the fear. So they're
Mhm.
going to stay in the safe zone, right? They're going to
Mhm.
stay inside the same bubble. They're not going to grow. They're not going to progress
Mhm.
because they can't label it, right? They can't admit that that's why they didn't do it. Or
Mhm.
they're on the other side of the spectrum where they're like, I don't have any fear and I'm just going to go, right?
Mhm.
They're not learning, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
They're not learning. They're just saying like I'm just going to go full force, and then when
Mhm.
a block comes, what happens?
Mhm.
They fall, and then they don't know
Mhm.
how to get back
Mhm.
up. They don't know what to do next. They don't like, you get me?
Yeah, they weren't ready to get shot down in the war zone, and
Yeah.
so they just.
And then some people didn't even take the risk. Some people, because the
Mhm.
fear was so great, you just gave an excuse as to why you couldn't.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're not
I
going to move
agree.
forward.
I agree.
Hmm.
Was there any? Go ahead.
I just wanted to transition into your Latino person, Latinx person for this episode.
Yes, I was gonna ask if there was any other topic revolving fear that we wanted
No,
to talk about. No. All
no,
right,
I
so
think
let's
we're
not
good.
be scared to move into the next segment. I am going to be doing today's dreamer of the day. Today's dreamer for the episode.
Dreamer of the day. Okay.
Dreamer of the day. I feel like we got into this really quick. Um, well, that's all that we had to talk about fear today. Let's get into Dreamer of the Day. All right.
Just screen grab my face when I did that. Went like this when I was like,
I'm gonna I'll try to go back to it. But yeah, okay, so you ready?
sure. Oh,
Okay. Born. Dreamer of the Day for this episode. Born February 3rd, 1977,
like,
in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
of course.
Puerto Rico. This dreamer is a singer, songwriter, actor, and rapper who rose to worldwide fame in 2004. He aspired
Daddy
to be a
Yankee.
professional baseball player. You're not supposed to guess before. He aspired to be a professional baseball player and tried out for the Seattle Mariners. But before he could be signed, he was hit by a stray round of an AK-47 while taking a break from a studio recording session. Did you know that?
Was I right
Af-
though?
After spending roughly a year and a half recovering from the wound, the bullet was never removed from his hip, and he credits the shooting incident with allowing him to focus entirely on a music career. Since 2004, he has sold around 30 million records, making him one of the best-selling live music artists. In 2017, this dreamer became the first Latin artist to become the most listened to artist worldwide on Spotify, being the first Latino to do so. Now, was this A. Prince Royce, B. Daddy Yankee, or C. Bad Bunny?
Daddy Yankee.
It was Daddy Yankee. I guess I should have given you the rule before of you can't guess. I kept reading though, so our listeners would know some of the
You know
story
what's
though.
crazy is that you gave me like 3 or 4 facts, and I was like, Daddy Yankee.
I know. I didn't know how to make it generic enough. I mean, our reggaeton king, Daddy
Oh,
Yankee.
that was the best concert I have ever been to.
Yes. If any of you guys went to the Daddy Yankee concert,
The
that
Legend
shit
Daddy
was
one.
amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
the Legend Daddy, his farewell tour. Amazing. Man, when that plane, okay, the people that didn't go aren't gonna know. Okay. But when that plane, like that plane is like landing on the stage and then it goes it's really badass
It
show,
was
dude. It was
it,
a really
it was
badass
a
show.
great show. It was a great show.
Yes.
10 out of 10. I hope he goes on tour
10 out of 10 with
again.
his new Christian album.
Yeah. I'll listen to Christian music. That's what yeah. I'll listen to Christian music, I
All
guess.
right. Well, we're gonna wrap up this episode. It was a really good one, talking about the fear of life, of following your dreams, and all that stuff.
Yes.
Sam, you have something you want to say?
I was surprised that like you didn't pick like Peso Pluma or something because I thought you were
Why
gonna
would
make
I
it
pick
easy.
Peso Pluma?
I don't know.
Apparently, I did make it easy. What are you talking about?
Shout out to Peso Pluma. Shout out to Daddy Yankee. Shout out to Bad Bunny. Good luck on your tour.
Shout out to all of our Latin kings.
All of and Latin queens. Hello, Miss Evie
Well, since we
Queen.
talked about
That's all I know.
Young Miko, Carol
Young Miko.
G,
Oh yes,
um,
Carol G.
I know we're missing a lot of people, but
Shout out.
all of you guys are great. All right. Thank you guys for listening to us talk for about an hour. If you guys want to be a guest on the show, email us at akisoñamos@gmail.com.
Or comment on our posts. We gotta keep posting. Um,
We sure do. We'll be back at it.
yeah, yeah. All right, y'all.
YouTube, Instagram, follow
Yes.
us,
Yep.
comment, message. Let's interact. Email with us. But we'll see you guys the next time. Bye.
Bye.